All right, Coach Matt Mumme is here. He's the pass game coordinator, associate head coach at Colorado State University. Coach, thanks for coming back. I know you're on vacation. I appreciate it so much.
Shoot, Steve, I appreciate you having me on like you did last year. How many years is this you've been doing this now?
Since February of 2020.
Oh
It's
yeah, so well I guess 5 years in, right? So
Yep. I tell people it's funny. I started it just to talk about sports. It wasn't even like coaching or anything. But then COVID happened like that next month. So it was like there's nothing to talk about, like nothing's going on.
right, no doubt.
And then other high school coaches, they were texting me or sending me messages. We're bored. How'd you start your podcast? So I told them. So then they start one. And then it became like a competition of like they get coaches on, I get coaches on. And it was a competition almost of like who can get the most. And I remember in 1 week I had like 12, like doing like bam, bam, bam,
That's
because
pretty.
we had
So
nothing to do.
do you do it every day or do you do it once a week? How do you do?
So, like I said, when I texted you and I gave you like a detailed day of my day,
Yeah,
it it's depending on like your guys' schedule, my schedule, because I do basketball, football. I also coach softball. I do all three. So it's very detailed. I have my football calendar, basketball calendar. So whatever days I can do it, I can do it. Summer, I knock them out. During the season, obviously, we all can't do it. We're all too busy. I catch a couple of you guys and other people in like that transition from the late winter to the spring.
right.
But I'm doing basketball, then I'm doing softball, and softball is crazy because the game gets rained out or whatever. My so it's just hard. Um, but the summers where I really knock it out. But you guys, as college coaches, become busier in like June. All these camps and stuff you guys now do, like it's become so much. Like it used to be. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys had more of the summer, could kind of do what you wanted. Now it's just kind of blown up to do more.
Yeah. Well, and especially the bigger part is recruiting. I mean, I think eventually we're going to start to see these camp things kind of disappear because a couple of things that are happening in June, we're starting to be allowed more time to spend with our guys that are on campus, right? And then you recruiting's just become so pivotal. Is like you're having big official visit and recruiting weekends in June, so it's kind of replacing the value of okay, I want to run down to a camp at TCU or a camp in Arizona. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Because our head football coach played at North Central and they were hosting their 2 or 3 day prospect camp. And they said, "Hey guys, come talk to us. I want to meet with their OC, see what they do." They had 400 kids there that day, which is a lot. But I was looking at it, and like you said, some of them don't happen anymore. Like they used to happen at bigger colleges, but now some of the Division threes are kind of hosting them. But like you said, some of you Power Four, Power Fives aren't doing it anymore. Like these prospect camps,
yeah,
which
well, it's hard because like I've been to them, right? I mean, Sonny Dykes and I were roommates at Kentucky, and he's done a great job everywhere he's been. And they host a camp down there at TCU, and it's like they get like 1,500 kids in like 2 days. And you've got like 80 quarterbacks coming through, and it's like what you get like two throws. I mean, it's like just not. I tell quarterbacks I don't know that it's value.
don't worry, everybody, he's coming back. Don't you worry. He's coming back. Don't worry. He's gonna come back. Sorry about that, everybody. He's driving, using a cell phone. We appreciate Matt Mumme for doing it. He's back.
Did it work? Sorry, I have no idea what happened.
You're all, like I said, you're all good.
Absolutely
You're all
apologize.
good. No, it's all good. You're on vacation, literally on your phone in your car with your family. I'm okay.
Anyway, but just the camp deal. I'll just be curious over the next couple of years to see if it sticks around, or I don't know that it'll be as big and profitable and beneficial for kids as it has been in the future. I mean, in the past.
Right. So it's been you haven't been on here for a while. You've been at Colorado State. I keep track of it. It seems like you guys had a good year this year. I think you guys were 8-5. I think I was looking.
8-5, had a really good season. Finished really kind of fighting for that top 3 spots in the Mountain West, and and then made a really good bowl game. Kind of fell a little bit short in that deal. Had some guys banged up, and our starting quarterback actually caught a bug and did not eat for like 2 days, and then tried to play the game. So it was, it's not one of those things where you want to sit there and make an excuse. We just had some elements that probably didn't give us our best performance that we would have liked.
Right. But what I noticed, the scores, they were kind of close games. So did you feel like you guys were just finally turning a corner, being that tough type of team to battle in those moments from when you guys first got there?
Yeah, I think it was one of those deals where, Coach Norvell did a nice job of just kind of recognizing, hey, our O-line was where we were really, where we're mature, we were old, we were, all our leaders were in the O-line really. You got a quarterback that's back for his second year starting, and then you had some young receivers. And of course, we had Torrey Horton back, but, his season ended up getting cut short. But, we had to fight hard in every game. It didn't really matter who we were playing, and now with the experience we've got coming back on offense, a little more hopeful. We can do some more things, be a little more explosive, and let Braden, our quarterback, really kind of take a little more control of it.
I have to ask every air raid guy this question. When I watch games, you guys are running the ball. So it's like, what are you guys doing running the ball? You're supposed to throw it all over the place. But like you said to me earlier, like, if the box is light, you have to hand the ball off. Like, you can't be, dumb and not be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, well, everybody always says, you air raid guys, you don't like running the ball. It's all about throwing it 70 or 80 times a game. Well, if they're going to stack the box, yeah, we're going to throw it 70 times. But if they're going to give us the box, then, and we're going to get good, clean looks for our running backs, we're going to hand it off. I mean, we're not naive enough to think that, we just shouldn't run it. We're going to take advantage of good looks. And I tell everybody, it's a mathematical deal. It's all about numbers, right? What are they trying to take away? And if you can get a quarterback that understands that, knows how to play that way, you've got an advantage.
Right. Because when I became the OC, the head coach said, hey, let's sit down, figure out what you want to do. And he knows I'm an air raid. I love the air raid pass concepts, but he looked at me and he goes, you're not passing it 70 times. Like, we have to run the ball. And I said, no, I agree. Like, we have to practice it. We have to be able to do it. But I said, on our senior quarterback, I want him to not think. I want things to be simple. And then our head coach looked at me and he goes, but I'm all about getting the ball out quick and quick game. And I said, well, let me tell you some about these air raid concepts that I've learned. There's a lot of quick game and we get the ball out quick. Don't worry. And he has fallen in love with like how simple it's become. And I even ask our players, like, so what do we think? I want their opinion, like, because I changed like our whole pass playbook, and they're like, this is pretty easy. Like, really, I just have double slants every time on the backside of like stick. I'm like, yep, I could change it to hitches, but that's all you got. And then we got this,
Right.
and now they're just, even in the summer when we're installing it, has been they're starting to figure out like where to get open too. Like even though I'm giving them strict-ish movements, if they do something to get open, they go, "Was that okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're figuring out. You start the route, and then if you find an opening, get to that spot." And it's working. Our head coach is like, "I like this. I like it a lot."
Well, and honestly, when you're throwing perimeter throws of quick game or screens and stuff like that, it's not much different than your run game. I mean, it's just your perimeter run is what it is. I mean, because you're ensuring that, like for us, like a basic wide receiver screen out to the right or to the left. I mean, we were 100% at it last year, so we had no balls on the ground or errant throws on it, and we averaged 6 yards a pop on it. So I mean, you look at it and you compare that to the run game. I mean, very similar, just a little bit different way of distribution.
Right. Well, like I said, I have to appease the head coach. So if it was up to me, we'd be doing. But if he wants the run, I'm all for it. But right now, I've taken the simplicity of we've only done one run play, like one, but everything's built off of that. So we can throw screens, we can do jets and hand the ball off, get to the outside, and do other things. And the old line's getting bored because like we're only doing one, and I'm like, but have you mastered every front we're going to see? Have you mastered this movement? Even to the wide receivers, like I'm still installing. I'm not doing the true like 3-day install. It's more of I want to make sure they can get into the routes, their first steps. Like it's new, so I want to make sure it's high school, so we have to do this. And they're like, "Well, we want to keep going." And I'm like, "One, we don't need to. Two, let's master this stuff first before I start piling more on top
Right.
and
No
embrace it."
I think mastering the craft and being really good at a few things, you hear my dad and Mike Lee talk, I mean, it's mastering a few things and being simplistic and being able to do it over and over again gives those guys a lot of confidence in being and then being successful with it.
Right, right. And because we have the Chicago Bears outreach program hosts a 7-on-7, and we go to it every year. It's coming up this week, and the kids have already sent me messages. Well, we need all these deeper pass plays because it's 7-on-7, and I'm like, and I'm trying to tell them like, I'm not sacrificing our season install for the 7-on-7. Like it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And and as you know, coach, if I start putting in all these huge deep passes, what's the quarterback going to do with no pass rush? They're going to try to throw it as deep as they can, score as quick as they can. It's
He's
not
not
going
gonna
to
throw.
happen.
He's not gonna throw it. Yep. He's not gonna throw it where he's supposed to throw it. There's no doubt.
Well,
Well, it's so amazing these young kids nowadays. It's like everybody, and even parents, really, they get all tied up in these 7-on-7s. I mean, understanding, 20, 30 years ago, or maybe even a little bit longer than that, when 7-on-7 was just kind of getting started, it was all about just having time in the summer to work your chemistry with your receivers and your running
mhm.
backs and your skill guys. That was it. It was just a benefit of another practice, right? And now they've turned it into, these guys all play for different teams. They don't play with their teammates. They play on teams that are, sponsored, and I mean, it's not what it was intended to be.
No, it's a funny story. Our freshman team were desperately trying to develop a quarterback this summer. Found a kid that's a baseball kid. And we found out he played quarterback. They're like, well, he could throw the ball. So we went up to him. We're like, hey, why aren't you playing football? It was like the first week of camp. He goes, I don't play football. I play 7-on-7.
Oh, geez.
And we said, wait a minute. That's one, it's football. Two, what do you mean you just play 7-on-7? Like, oh, I just do leagues, like these passing things. And we're like, you need to come play football. Like, so we watched him throw it just on air. And we're like, yeah, you need to come play football. Yeah, but I do this. And that's the next step. This travel ball stuff. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be like travel
Yeah.
7-on-7. That's the next step.
It's correct. I mean, it's like basketball, like, right? Because the AAU basketball is like a bigger deal than
Oh,
high school basketball, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm more old school. I mean, I get it, but it makes me shake my head sometimes.
Well, like you as a recruiter, if a kid was like, "I just do this," I would think you're like, "Okay, that's cool, but what do you do when there's a pass rush? What do you do when this happens? If you're a receiver, what are you doing when there's pads?" Like, I would feel like that's more recruiting than just playing on air or against 7 on 7.
You're so. I mean, like, no one sits there and say, "Hey, send me your 7-on-7 so I can watch it and decide if I'm going to give you a scholarship." No, I want to see your game film. You standing behind an O line when the bombs are going off and guys are running past you, and you're stepping up and making accurate throws. Like, it's just, I mean, 7-on-7, you're supposed to be 80% 7-on-7.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So,
Well, you hit the nail on the head. The travel ball stuff we're fighting right now, and like I've gotten arguments with people about they think that's more important than the high school stuff. And my argument was always, yeah, but isn't your travel team kind of like the big three with LeBron? Like you kind of make the team and you try to create this. Like in high school, you work with who you have, like your teammate, like you never know. And I would rather do that, like learn how to play with different people than just make my own team.
right. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm a big advocate about it being your guys and being having the availability to work the stuff you need to get work to be successful in your upcoming season rather than be a big, show for everybody. And then at the end of the day, you get a small trophy for it, whatever.
Because that's what we battle in the summer. It's I got travel baseball, which we don't get mad at the kids, but we're just more frustrated of what's your next sport coming up, and it's football. And the travel coaches are like we had a kid say he couldn't come to camp this one week because his travel coach said if he misses this 1 or 2 games, he's going to sit him all weekend. And we're like, what? Like you're threatening playing time if he wants to go to football? He still got me.
Steve, you still there?
Yeah, you still there?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. Sorry.
No, all good. All good. But yeah, these travel coaches are now threatening our.
That's why my wife was like, we should have.
What happened?
Go ahead.
No, I was just telling
like,
you.
maybe we should have just sat still. Sorry about that.
No. But luckily, you're still in college because these travel coaches are now threatening kids for like playtime. Like, if you go to football camp and miss this game, you're not going to play the rest of the weekend.
I just can't. I mean, it just shocks me that's how they act, And then the other thing is they want to be involved with the recruiting process with us. It's like now we have agents, we got marketing guys, we got people, 7-on-7 coaches that want to be involved. It's like, if I need to talk to a coach, I'm going to go talk to the guy that coaches him in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean for that to sound bad. I mean, it's not saying that guy's not a good guy and has the best interest of the kid at heart, but again, it's 7-on-7. It's not 11-on-11. And how do you pick up an inside pressure blitz or an outside pressure blitz? And how do you get the ball out hot? And how do you work with your O-line in unison? I mean, all that stuff's important.
Right. But I told somebody, I think the travel stuff started with good intentions. It'd be like us high school coaches just creating our own teams, just doing it in the summer, get a little extra money, but it was a coach doing it. It was good for the right reasons. I know people that do it for the right reasons. They do the right things. But then it became this billion-dollar industry. So now these people are like, give me 10 grand and I'll help them get recruited at baseball, at basketball, at football. But then they're just playing games. They're not practicing. And then they threaten that stuff. Like, well, if you go to your high school stuff, I'm not going to play you and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we don't threaten kids like that at the high school level. Like, we didn't look at this kid and say, if you don't come to football camp, you don't play in the 7-on-7. Like, we didn't threaten that. We just said, okay, we get it. We understand. Make sure you study the playbook, whatever. Like, I'll put it up. And he's like, I'll be there next week. Don't worry, blah, 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 blah. But these other coaches, they do it the wrong way, and it's very frustrating when we try to do it a certain way, and then they do it their own way.
It's not. It's just unfortunate, and it's again. You've said it, it's like people trying to take advantage of situations too when they know they can target young kids that are extremely talented. We've heard of some of these guys trying to grab guys in high school that they know are going to get NIL deals and charging them like 10 or 12% of what they're going to make. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have an agent and I don't pay more than 4%. Like, this is like what you're talking about is crazy. Don't let people take your money. That's stuff that, the kid's earning on his own.
Well, that was the next thing, because obviously your head coach is very open about I love it. He's very open about what goes on, and he's not going to hide it. And hearing those stories, like you just said, one of them was NFL agent. Like, NFL, they only pay like 3%, like, to their agent or whatever.
Right.
These guys are coming to these kids saying, give me 12, 15, 20% of what you make, and I'll make sure you get this. But then they're calling teams and saying, like, hey, he'll come play for you, when that shouldn't be happening. Like, that shouldn't be
right. Right. They continue to shop them around, even though they help them. Maybe they helped in some way to get on somewhere, and then now they're looking for the next deal or the next handout so they can take their 20%, which is just, it's stealing, it's robbing. Those are the parts that disappoint me from the standpoint of a coach. And you're right, Coach Norvell's been very outspoken about how he feels about a lot of this stuff. And it's, again, as college coaches, we're in this business to help young men go from one level to the next, go from high school to college, go get you a good degree, go be a great student, be a great college football player, have a great experience, and then maybe it works out and you get a chance in the pros. But we're really, this game is changing, and it's hard to tell what it's going to be moving forward.
Well, and you don't have to give a take on this, but like the lawsuit with like Wisconsin and Miami, I saw that and I said, this is going to start happening more and more because of tampering, right? And what does tampering mean? Is it the agents doing it? Is it a coach doing it? Which has always kind of been a thing, but now they're throwing money around, which, correct me if I'm wrong, coaches don't know. Like, you can't go to a kid and say, I'll give you $20 million, like, as a coach.
Yeah, you don't usually. You're right. Our starter got offered a couple of substantial amounts from other schools, and I didn't know about it until he told me about it. It's like, okay, this is, and you don't know where it's coming from and who's saying it, and it's not necessarily coaches from the other school as much as it's maybe a connection back home, or maybe a connection through a buddy, or, and they're like, hey, if you come over here, it's this, and then, you get a call, and it's like, well, they're tampering with our kid, and then you call them out, but it's really not anybody on the coaching staff of the other school. It's just somebody testing the waters, right? And it's, again, you're putting that young man in a really tough situation to handle it when he's only 18 or 19 years old.
Right, because they want the money now, which of course we all do, but right. You kind of have to look at it like, hey, you may not be an NFL guy, so if you take the money now, where's it going to be after you're done, right? Like,
right.
If it's $800,000, but which is awesome, we all want that money, but then when it's done, what are you doing after that?
Right.
And because I think if I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I'd be like, yeah, I want that $1 million. I want it now. But another thing, do they know about taxes? Do they know about, you got to pay this guy 20%? You go buy a house, an apartment. Now that money is dwindling. Now what do you do?
Right. That's what I tell our guys. I said, guys, take a look. And here's the deal with the money. Like, I get it. College student athletes should be able to make a little bit more money. They don't get to go work jobs, so people are always like, well, why are we giving them money? Here's why you're giving them money, because they're not going out in the community and working a job where they make a little bit extra money to help pay for school and stuff like that, pay for living. So I just never saw it being that it would go over the top and be this much, right? Like, here's a few bucks. Let's help you guys out. You can live month to month, because, they're getting up at 5 a.m. every day. They're coming to the facility. They're doing what they have to do all morning long. They get done at lunch. They go do academics. They go to go to bed. And then they all over. But people realize online these stores that facility so sorry, soapbox there, but
no, that's because I don't think anybody's like you said, nobody's arguing they're making money, but I think it's just like you said, it's an accelerated rate of like this happened during COVID times, and then all of a sudden, boom, all this money pops out of nowhere, and so it's just we have to roll with the punches. But another question I had for you was, I saw a guy say this. Back in the day, recruiting your school was about culture. Like, you want to come here because of what we established. Is that still a big part of this, or is it different now because of the money? Can you still build that culture and get kids to stay because of that? Sorry, guys. Hey, give a thumbs up to Coach Matt Mumme because he's on vacation. He's on his phone. So anybody watching, comment, give him a shout out, because I feel so bad. He's donating his time to do this. If you guys couldn't hear what he was saying, he was talking about how it's crazy because the kids now in college, the amount of money that they're getting is at an accelerated rate. But there's still some people like, why are you giving them all this money? Well, look at the money they generate. But like he said, the scholarships sometimes don't match what they need to do outside of school. Like, if we are not playing sports and we're going to college, we could go work a job every day, like right after class, or work on the weekends. They can't, because they're going to 5 a.m. lifts. They have class, they have meetings, then they're going to practice. They got to study their playbook. Then they got to do homework. Like, if you're a regular gen ed student and your classes don't start till 10 a.m., you can get up early, do your homework, do what you need to do. If your classes end at 2 or 3 and you don't work till 5, you have time to get things done. They don't. So we were talking. So what he was saying was, he was talking about the money and making sure that they're deserving of that money, right? And the question I asked him, he'll be back. He'll be back for a couple more minutes, and then we'll let him go on vacation. Was the culture part, right? Culture was a buzzword before COVID, right? As COVID, during those times, I had people on here, we were talking about, what culture is such a buzzword. It's more about the standard. But I saw a video where a guy said, can coaches even literally build a culture, right? Because, for example, if you're at Illinois or even Alabama, like, what's your culture, right? We're winning. We're sending guys to the NFL. This is our standard. This is this. You're recruiting guys that come to campus. This is what we've built. They talk to the older guys, and that's what keeps them. That's what gets them there, and that's what keeps them there. Now, with this transfer portal, I think coaches are still building a culture, but I don't know if it's meaning as much to the players because they are about the money, right? When you ask these coaches, one of the things they ask, one of the players, they ask, well, how much money am I getting, right? And as now with the revenue sharing, that's going to change. But at schools like or coaches at Colorado State, can they really go and say, well, you're about to get $800,000, but that's not part of the culture. The culture is not making money. The culture is not giving you this. Like the culture is, hey, you'll come here, we'll coach you up. Look at the guys, even if they had guys that left, if they were with them for 2 years, and then they like if you're at a group of 4 school and they say, hey, because I think that's the next part of recruiting, which kind of stinks, is if you're a group of 4, as a coach, you could say, hey, they came here, they were with us for 2 years, they went on to Alabama, they went on to USC, they went on to wherever. That's so, I mean, same thing where if they were used to go to Alabama, now they're moving on. It's like you could say, hey, we get them developed, they go to the NFL. It's now kind of become, look at the guys that we've developed, look at the guys that we've worked with here and here and here and here. Sorry, guys, he has bad service. They're in Georgia. We're going to have to reschedule him. He apologizes, but again, Coach Mumme's awesome. The fact that he was on here during his vacation, the fact that he was his wife is literally driving on vacation. So we're gonna probably reschedule it. So enjoy that first part. This could be part 1. I'm gonna retitle it. This is Coach Mumme part 1. Part 2, we're gonna get more of his takes on. I want more of the information about what they're dealing with in the transfer portal. I want more about what they're dealing with in the culture building. I want to know more about like what's going on with that, and then can they still like? I want to ask him and let me know. Like, yeah, he apologizes. This is part 1. Be tuned for part 2. If you're watching live right now, join in about 14 minutes. Coach 2J will be on. He is the offensive line coach at NC State. He'll be joining us in about 14 minutes. So he apologizes for that. I hope you enjoyed that first part. We were just kind of BSing about travel ball and stuff like that. So this is part 1. Part 2 is going to be about name, image, and likeness. It's going to be about the transfer portal. And I want to know, can they still entice people to come with the offense, right? Can he still get quarterbacks in what they're playing in? Recruiting at Colorado State, and you've got Colorado, and then Colorado State is now moving to the Pac-12 starting next year. What's the process like? That's the stuff we're going to find out. So thanks to you guys. He apologizes. I apologize, but Coach Mumme is the best. Follow him. Follow Colorado State. He is the absolute best. He's an awesome dude. So thank you guys. Join us in about 13 minutes for Coach 2J. So thanks, everybody.